All right, good morning and welcome to VOP This Morning. I'm Moses Humphrey. Now, the Senate yesterday concluded a screening of ministerial nominees. Now, they approved 45 out of the 48 ministerial candidates sent to them by Mr. President. Now, prominent among the three casualties are former Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State, and plus probe panel submits reports as Lagos government suspends the top official of its infrastructure and asset management agency in the wake of the death of Dr. Vuaredia, so in an entirely avoidable elevator accident. In the meantime, we'd like for you to subscribe to our page on YouTube by clicking the subscribe button. And on YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV. And on other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. First off, let's get into the cover pages of newspapers. And I have with me in the studio VOP in-house analyst Cyril Abaku. Good morning to you, Cyril.
Good morning, Moses. I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you, of course. Now let's delve into the papers right away. From the Punch newspaper, we have the banner headline: FG withdraws contempt suit against Labour. NLC may suspend strike. We also have Solicitor General writes NLC. Falana says FG suspends suit over Tinubu's intervention. NLC TUC await FG on palliative agreement. Calls special meeting over planned strike. On top of the nameplate of the paper, we have a Senate refuses to confirm El-Rufai Danladi female nominee. Niger mega rail project threatened. Over 1,000 trucks trapped. Obaseki dismisses impeachment plot, says Shaibu planning APC defection. All right. Former Character Commission officer admits taking bribes. Indicts chairman. Jakonde conceived Banana Island. Allocated no plots to self. Son. Mob attacks cop as bus crushes motorist on BRT lane. FBN shareholders protest AGM suspension, demand regulators' intervention. All right, so these are the headlines in the cover page of the Punch newspaper.
Yeah, well, there are so many of them there. Maybe I should begin with the banner headline. Could you take it again?
FG withdraws contempt suit against
the
Labour.
NLC is looking less and less to me like an institution that should make good news now, that should make serious news now, because their modus operandi suggests that they are sort of losing traction with the reality of what is on the table. I have met a number of them, a number of labor leaders who would tell you that it's not only when you embark on strike that you are a good labor leader, although the rank and file believes that you must, call for an industrial action to show that you indeed mean what you are, that you're indeed worth your onions. So there is the primordial or the original idea of a labor leader must be tough, must embark on strike. I'm not talking about that. Pascal Bafia was perceived to be weak, but he was Babangeda's close friend. So anything Labour wanted, he just went into the president and said, Mr. President, we need this, and Babangida gave it to him. So if you're getting what you need,
there's no need
for strike. So when I talk about Labour losing traction, I'm not talking about whether they were tough to go on strike or not. I'm talking about an institution that must see itself as the credible voice of the voiceless, of the laborers, of the mechanizers, of the vulcanizers, of the panel beaters, of the carpenters, of the traders, of common men, of gate men and women. The whole discussion has gone from negotiating for minimum wage and negotiating for palliatives to now strike, because Labour may call off strike, court case, the Senate president intervene, the president. The whole thing has seems of lost coordination. And if the feelers we are getting about the presidency's lethargy in dealing with this, in providing palliatives for the poor, is anything to go by, then it appears the Labour is being used now. Because what the federal government brought contempt suit against Labour, the labor unions, the president didn't know. Excuse me. There are people that do liaison in government. in every department of, in every ministry, Ministry of Works and Housing, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of whatever, there is a legal department. So at the time, the office of the Minister of Justice was preparing a brief to go to drag labor to court, they didn't inform the State House Council. Is that really possible? Didn't they write to say, this is, I mean, even if it is about once you prepare the brief, you must copy the presidency, State House, and then whatever, if you go to court, you go, what does it mean that they already went to court before the president now knew about the court case, and now, meanwhile, the president is ostensibly working to negotiate with labor, and a department under him is probably is dragging labor to court. You must not, you are not, it doesn't speak well. Even if the whole sequence I've painted now is the reality, labor should be worried that they are dealing with an uncoordinated dysfunction. Yes. So, and it appears labor is playing along. You know, they seem to be playing along. After they embarked on strike, as at this and last week, they were smoking hot that they were going to go on strike. The following day, they went on strike. Then they called up the strike 2 days later. In fact, I think it was a day later actually. A day later. It was actually a day later. You call up the strike. Till now, Nigerians cannot really tell what exactly why they even call up the strike. What was it that they saw the president's commitment? They had a picture with they went to State House, met the president, took a picture with him. What did Mr. President concede? What did he put on the table?
Well, I think part of the things that were published was that he promised that by December, the Port Harcourt refinery will go into action.
That is unrealistic. That's unrealistic. Do you know how many timelines they've given for that refinery? I lived in that refinery community. I grew up there. I was born. I was raised. When this is a charade. It's a facade. The refinery will not work. Don't let anybody deceive you. We've borrowed to do turnaround maintenance. It didn't work. We've done everything we can. So the president was telling them that the refinery will work. 2 or 3 days after, he addressed the nation in the national broadcast, where he didn't say anything about refineries coming back to life. I don't know if you...
No, I think the address was before the meeting.
That's what I'm saying. The president met Labour and announced that the refinery was going to come back to life in December. Meanwhile, some days later, before, he had addressed the nation on this subsidy issue and didn't mention a single word of refineries. Who is deceiving who? Not to mention of the timelines that former Minister of Petroleum give us, the NNPC is giving us. So you are not... This whole thing sounds haphazard. Or he told Labour what Labour wanted to hear. Because after the president's speech, Labour issued a statement and a long epistle where they said that everything the president has said were mere promises and a refinery. So then the following day, so the president said it, therefore it is. Why didn't you then believe the speech he gave? Because if you believe the president said and you believe him, why didn't you believe the speech he gave some days ago? So I am personally not flustered. On the issue of Obaseki and his deputy, I personally don't feel too happy that these two men are now having to fight this political war. I thought they were good together. I thought they were a solid team. But it is going to go the way every other thing has gone. Obaseki fell out with his own boss. All right? And it's a normal thing. You coming through the APC or whichever party, then your boss and you have a problem, you switch over to the opposition camp. Obaseki won his first time with the APC, one second time with PDP. You know what I mean? With the PDP. It is likely that, what's his name? Shaibu goes to the APC, joins ranks with Pastor, Dr. Professor Osage. There's this man that helped Oshomole win, helped Obaseki win, you know. But I can't. No, he didn't have Obaseki win, but I can't pick his name now. Pastor Osage, I think, maybe he goes to join with Pastor Osage and so on in the APC. And now that the APC is at the center, you know, they find a way to. It's the typical game, because even Obaseki in the PDP has very few friends. Maybe I should refresh you. Wike, Makinde, and the PDP governors were the ones who helped Obaseki win his second term, because he was a total stranger to the PDP, but having left APC because of his problem with Oshomole, he came to the PDP. The famous Edo is not Lagos campaign came up, and the governors were there in Edo State on election day. You know, Edo is off cycle. They don't do the election yeah. So Wike went there, Makinde went there. I think Otomtu was there. They were on election day. They were all there. In fact, they were also said this vote must count. They went to INEC office. I think they were giving press statements during. When that sort of doubling down is going on, people may not be able to. So they were there to give him the
support,
the solidarity. Then when Wike was to run for president candidate of the PDP, Wike lost and told us that it was people like Obaseki that betrayed him. So if Obaseki is in the Atiku camp and is believing that God will help him to, no, God can help him, but and is believing that he can spring a miracle, within the PDP, get a PDP candidate for governor and win the governorship of Edo State again. I wish him good luck in his endeavors, which he has the right to pursue. But I have a feeling that if Philip Shaibu crosses over to the APC, it will be very difficult for the PDP because the PDP that helped him to win the election the other time is not the same PDP that is happening. In fact, people like Wike will gladly throw Obaseki under the bus. It's just a matter of time.
All right. Let's look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper has its banner headline: Security clearance delays El Rufai Okotete Danladi. Senate OK's Kiyamo, Bagudu, Umahi, Edu, Alake, Beta Edu, 39 others. I want to serve in national interest. Wike writes PDP ministers for induction. On top of the nameplate, yeah. And then we have a federal government uncovers 44 multiple taxes in bills. Sit at home flops. No plot to impeach Shaibu, says Obaseki. Court action preemptive. And then I sold jobs for 1.5 million naira at federal agency, says ex-worker. Saolu Nwachukwu Adenaike extol Jakonde. And then when you go further down, we have FBN shareholders seek SEC, that SEC intervention in takeover bid. ECOWAS plans review of Niger junta position. All right. And then we have Wike withholds candidates' results from 8 states. Now, the one on ECOWAS, it has a sub-rider. Military closes Niamey airspace. All right, so yes, these are the headlines from the Nation.
Let me just pick the one on sold jobs. I don't know if you recall, Moses, and sorry, I'm going a bit personal. I've told you here off the air that there is this racketeering that goes on in Abuja. Federal civil servants can't tell you how much they earn because they don't know. Your salary comes every month. It is either short of this or short of that. You mysteriously money just that one. And that you can't even get the job of a cleaner at Federal Secretariat. I've told you this before. You cannot even
I recall.
You cannot get the job of a prison warder. You must be kidding. You can't get it. You cannot get jobs. So but now I'm happy and I'm glad that somebody is saying this. If we can summon the courage to, the president said that he even suspected the number of workers on the federal civil service payroll. I think he was speaking with the World Bank president also. Said he was not sure if that the numbers he sees, he has his doubts as to whether those are real figures or they are bloated. If any president who can take on the civil service and win, he must be a leadership genius. He must be an administrative czar, and I'll give it to him. I hope he can match his words with action. One suggestion I'll give to him is that copy what the man in Abia has done, unifying the payroll system. ASU came up with UTAS, which even the experts came to say, independent experts came to say, was 100 times better, more foolproof than IPPS. Are you aware that since IPPS began, federal civil servants, IPPS has not been able to enroll everybody for reasons you can't fathom. They have not been able to enroll everybody for reasons you can't tell. People who leave the offices, go and queue. They will queue for hours. You cannot. You don't do this. This is federal work. You can't be losing time. That is, if you're productive, not when, not if you're productive, people can come to the venue of the of enrollment and queue the whole day. Come on. So if this man is saying he sold jobs, the question is, what gave him the boldness to give people the guarantee? Because of course he wasn't going to employ them to take his job. He was going to employ them into offices, all right? Which means there was a distribution system, which means there was a cabal. There should have been a network. Can we, you don't hear this kind of thing, and can we go after them? Can we quickly, because even if he's a retired person now, there are people that, I told you that in Nigeria corruption is genealogical. You think somebody isn't just corrupt. The corruption of today is a continuation of the corruption of 1960, 61, certainly. Because one generation passes on to the other. That's why people come to government with greater boldness, with greater tenacity, with greater effrontery. It gets worse by the day. It's because those who pass it on, how can somebody steal 2 billion naira? In 1999, the Minister of Power, Dr. Passenger first appointed, was given 2.7 billion naira to fix electricity. He took money and put it in a private account. It was yielding, back then, it was yielding about 100,000 naira every month, every week or so. Back then. Or was it 100 million? That's the kind of person that can take it, somebody and say, and go to the bank. It was an old generation bank and say, employ this person. The bank manager there not that he wouldn't employ because 2.7 billion was plenty money. Over time, by what you call time value of money, 2.7 billion of then cannot be 2.7 billion now. It has to be something maybe 12.7 billion. So somebody stole 2.7 billion naira. The person succeeding in will want to steal more than he stole. But the person coming after that will want to steal more. That's why when you go and check how much we spent on powers in 1999, you can't believe those figures. The question is, where is the result? The impact of that money is in people's pockets. A federal civil servant has a university. A federal civil servant has a hotel. A federal civil servant is organizing a sports festival. How do you, maybe even has a football club. He wants to be like Chelsea and Arsenal. For what you didn't sweat for the commonwealth of your own country. You cannot do bad to achieve good. These are time-tested. Go and read all the Socrates and Aristotle. You cannot do bad to achieve good. They say that power that is stolen cannot be used for something good. It's only a matter of time. Because you must pay back those that you owe that helped you. Is that not so? And when you help when the devil empowers a man to become something, can you rule without the devil's assistance? He cannot. So what happens? It becomes what began as assistance now becomes consummated into a system, a whole system. So this is the bane of bad leadership in our country, because the process by which men access power is corrupt, is faulty. They can't do better than those who would have done better if they had come to government, by the right means. So this matter should be followed up, sincerely speaking.
All right, and we in the media will keep our eyes on it and definitely educate our viewers.
If I may just add, you see, this person now is working. I told you, the chain goes right back up. So when somebody comes and they say, corruption case, let's get the file. The man who employed you tells you that file, maybe that file somewhere. So this whole thing is a racket. I was shocked. There was a time the National Council of State met in Aso Rock for a meeting. The president, was it Buhari? I think it was Buhari. The president asked the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, to go and get a particular file. The National Council of State comprises past heads of state and past presidents. The serving CJN, I think governors and the president. Do you know that, Moses, the president told the chief of the Attorney General to go and get the file. He was waiting for him. He didn't have the file. All those old men were waiting for him. For about an hour. He came back. They didn't find it. They told him, go back and check again. He kept. This is a shame. You know what I would have done? That's the last day he would have served in that office. In this digital era, you couldn't find files. Who knows? Because I'm trying to remember what that. But look, everything pertaining to government is government matter and borders on national security. Whether it's agriculture, healthcare, borders on national security. How can you say the file was missing? Certainly, that file was in the custody of somebody. That's the truth. Or he was lying and when he had not actually prepared the paperwork that he was asked to prepare. This is the kind of conduct that we run. Bad behavior does not get punished.
All right. Let's touch on another paper before we call it a day on newspaper review. The Daily Trust has its banner headline, Niger airspace closure, Europe-bound flights diverted amidst fear of fare hike. Lagos-London one-way ticket costs 5.6 million naira. Did you hear that?
5.6 million.
Lagos-London one-way ticket. Mali, Burkina Faso send delegation to Niger. Air France suspends flight. ECOWAS meets again Thursday. Germany threatens coupists with sanctions, prosecution. El Rufai, 2 others confirmation on hold as Wike, Pate, Edu, 42 others cleared. Digital skills, FG partners Wema Bank to empower 1 million youths. Boa Group donates 25 vehicles to NDLEA. Kaduna villager who lost 3 kids to banditry killed bandits leader. Okay. And then we also, on top of the nameplate, we have issues of Ganduje moves to unify APC. Issues as Ganduje moves to unify APC. Wike withholds results of 262,803 candidates. Tinubu Atiku Senate. Others hail Super Falcons despite World Cup exit. All right, so yes, these are the headlines that we have from the Daily Trust.
Issues as Ganduje moves to unify. It's not, this unification is not just, it's beyond what you are reading there. There is a move to get back Kwankwaso into the APC. He's on his way back to the APC. When they're talking about unify, that's the word the editors have chosen to give to the headline. But I think it's beyond unification. I told you this president is not the type who likes to go to war with his friends. Why should we be friends? Why should we fight when we can be friends? I invented that motto for the president anyway, so dependent is mine. The copyright is mine. But the president apparently always asks, why should we fight when we can be friends? And the issue is that this unification move is to bring unlikely bedfellows to share the same bed. Strange tendencies to become born again, politically born again. I don't know how they do it, but they become born again. They change their ways as it were, or they find a way to be compatible. And you'll be amazed at how far the groundwork has already been. I don't know why the editors are saying unify, because Empire was having visited the president, and yesterday or 2 days ago was spotted at Ganduje's house in Abuja. You know, Empire is a PDP chieftain, but the conclusion we draw from history and experience when we see this sort of moves is that you shouldn't be surprised if Empire tomorrow came and said that his constituents have told him that he needs to shift base from the PDP to the APC. Will you be surprised?
Of course not.
Good. So we will not be surprised if that happened. It means that we are approaching a threshold where people that you did, Olisa Metu, famous PDP spokesman, is going to become an APC member. Just let that sink into your mind for a moment. But you know, in Nigerian politics, all things are possible, and we are going to see a lot of unlikely possibilities become real material possibilities very, very soon. And when that happens, the fact is that my personal worry with that is that the fewer alternatives we have, the fewer counterpoints we can raise, it's not necessarily opposition, it's about alternatives. No one person possesses a monopoly of how best to get a job done. There must be contraindications, there must be diversity, there must be, yes. Some may say, can that be brought to bear even in a party?
Well, what does all of this carpeting portend for
democracy?
Yes,
Nigerian this democracy. Is where you see this.
We don't see Democrats cross into the Republican camp as easily.
It will be big news. The world media will be on that news for weeks. There was a senator who was
that they don't have. Our politicians are not principled.
No, they are not. I'm sorry, but they are not. They lack principle. They lack compunction. They lack ideology. They lack a worldview. They lack a mindset. They lack the fundamentals of politics. Is the highest good anybody can aspire to. This is why in every country you are either in the public service or in the military service, but you must serve your country, and service to your nation is the highest good you can ever do for your people. That's why prime ministers and presidents are always seen as greatest statesmen, and normally they are men of high learning. For example, in the UK, Prime Minister Winston Churchill is one of politics apart, is one of Britain's finest historians. Okay, in fact, he wrote the history of Britain to the point he won the Nobel Prize for Literature, which means he was a fantastic writer. He was a great mind. That is politics apart. Just look at Tony Blair. Imagine the kind of minds that go to number 10 down. Then look at America. Look at the likes of Barack Obama. He speaks and you're like, this man. This is he has the mind of an intellectual, But when you come back to when you come to your country, somebody said the other day that if you too sabi, you are a misfit for government. What you should even be is that if you have certificate problems, criminal past, criminal record, you're the kind of person that they want to be in government. It's a pity and it's a shame. But one day we hope that our country will learn her lesson and turn the curve and become what God wanted her to be.
All right, on that note, we'll say thank you very much, Cyril Abaku, for joining us on Newspaper Review this morning.
My pleasure.
The program continues. Up next on VOP this morning, we might as well call them the Lucky 45. Even if that for numbers is quite a big bunch. Well, let's settle in shortly and find exactly who made it and who did not make it from the Senate screening of cabinet nominees. Stay with us.